Yes, hello. Hello. Hello, am I audible? Hello. 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 Hello, am I audible? Hello. 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 Am I audible? Someone is joined. Hello. 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 Okay, dear friends, in the last class, am I audible? Yes. Okay. In the last class, I mean in the previous class, we have been discussed on the accommodation marketing and dear friends. At first I welcome to you all to the IGNU classes, particularly tourism marketing. And whenever we talk about block 8 is concerned with the transport and the travel service marketing. And just before I'm going to discuss about the transport and the travel services marketing, I just refresh your memory. That is, in the previous classes, we have been gone through the accommodation marketing, the destination marketing. Marketing makes the specific and the situations, the developmental role of the marketing, understanding tourism market, and market analysis, market mix. So these are the papers that we have been discussing context to the marketing and more particularly the tourism marketing. And dear friends, so when today we are going to discuss as far as the block 8 is concerned, that is the transport and the travel services marketing. It is the fact, dear friends, whenever we talk about the marketing system is meaningless without the transport and the travel services. It may be when to talk about the tourism marketing, in the other hand, we may talk about the marketing relating to the common goods and the goods which are quite essential for the servitudes of the mankind. And in this context, when to talk about the tourism marketing, particularly, the first aspects that is called the airlines marketing. And it is the fact difference when to talk about the airline marketing. No doubt, it is a vital aspects of the tourism marketing because the airline marketing helps the tourists to what exactly we talk about to reach at the destination, and normally deals with the major cities of the state like India or may talk about any part of the country. And whenever difference, we are going to discuss about the airlines marketing. Generally, why sometimes the questions are unabated. Sometimes the questions are unabated. And in this difference, we are talking about, we are going to discuss about particularly why airline marketing. And if people see that when we're talking about the international and the national marketing system, international and the national tourists generally they prefer to the airlines as far as their destination is concerned. And in this regard, there are certain paraphernalias, there are certain elements how to carry on, how to burn out the airline marketings. And in this context, dear friends, we are going to discuss that is what? That is the major objectives. There are the four major objectives what we are going to highlight on the basis of it. The first one is the special characteristics of an airline product. And it is the fact, dear friends, when to talk about the airline product, it is differ to the product of the destination. It is different to the product of the tourist destination. And in this context, dear friends, we are going to discuss or to highlight, keeping in view of the first characteristics or the characteristics of airlines product. On the basis of it, we are going to highlight the airlines marketing system. The second one that may talk of the process of the marketing planning and its effectiveness. Not only if may talk about the process of marketing planning, it is not an accidental. What the seven papers we have been going through it, we know the marketing is not the marketing effectiveness, the marketing planning, the marketing success is not an accidental because it needs a thorough and rigorous research. And therefore, the producers, or we may talk about the marketing managers, they all are intended that to study the market status, the market statuses. And according to the time, according to the demand, the marketing planning is different because it is always changeable. It is not fixed at all. According to the time, according to the demand of research means or for information, according to the tourists' demand, or we may talk about the demand of the customers, the consumers. The marketing planning is different, and its effectiveness also depends on the marketing research. So now coming to the third point, particularly, so importance of the scheduling that you must keep in mind, dear friends, particularly pricing in airlines marketing. But talking about price is also one of the important aspects, the thrust areas, because it determines the fate of the consumers. It determines the fate of the tourist destinations. That we must keep in mind. And now, dear friends, whenever we're talking about the concept of whenever we're talking about the concept of the airline marketing, it can be studied to promote the product in the various ways because the product is not unitary. The product is multiplicity in its approach and its actions. So therefore, the varieties of the ways being helped. And when you talk about the producers or the marketing managers, they're ready to promote the product in the varieties of ways. There are so many ways. When to talk about the tourism marketing particularly, there are many organizations, what have been already discussed earlier. Many organizations, and we might talk about the public sectors, private sectors, the NGOs, and the most important thing is here, when to talk about the tour operators, the marketing, the varieties, as you know, the ITTC, OTDC, in context of India is concerned, the FORI, so many organizations are involved. When to talk about the tourism marketing or the tourism destination is a combination of the varieties of the marketing systems. And in this context, difference, whenever we are talking about the intros that we must keep in mind regarding the airlines marketing. If people see, if we talk about in all over the world, and that we have already discussed in the previous classes, that each and every country is coming forward to compete with others on the basis of the healthy competitions, on the basis of the strategies, and the basis of the marketing policies, that how to lead, how to market, how to sell the tourist products, because of the tourist destination now is one of the important product through which a nation earns the as you means exactly the foreign earnings. And in this regard, the GDP also influenced, and also it helps to enhance the standard of the living of the people. And besides, we talk about the most important thing is here that we're talking about the employability is another thrust areas. Want to talk about tourism marketing is concerned. So defense, talking about what talking about for your information, dear friends. I'm talking about the intros. So therefore, today in the world, the airline marketing is one of the fascinating subject. And in this unit, the friends we are going to discuss about marketing, how marketing takes care the planning. Then we are talking about the scheduling. We're talking about the pricing, distributions, and the promotions of an airline product. This is going to talk about the intros, and now we are going to discuss, dear friends, to understand what is the airlines market system or the market. Okay, we must keep in mind. So, dear friends, okay, I'm talking about what in every marketing services or the product there is a certain components, and that we must keep in mind, dear friends. Whenever we talk about the marketing system, it may be every marketing services I'm talking about. It may be the consumer products, or you may talk with the tourist attractions or the tourist destinations. Because of general, the marketing in all over the world is divided into two parts. And yes, the marketing system, the marketing strategy is different according to the product, according to the demand of the product. If we talk about the soft as the consumer's product, what marketing it requires, what marketing research it requires, that kind of the marketing research of the marketing system is not involved in the tourist destination. That you must keep in mind, dear friends. And when you talk about the marketing services of the product, there are certain components, as you mean. And in this context, dear friends, the first one. But here we want to understand the airline marketing because the airline marketing is the one of the important part, and we may talk about it is one of the important parcel, important part and parcel of the tourism marketing system. Which one? That I'm talking the airline marketing system because it caters the international tourists easily to any tourist destination. And so from that point of view, nowadays, even if the people, they prefer to save their times and for their easy access to any destination, the people to the airlines. As a result, day by day, not only in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, or India's remain, all over the world, the airports are now so raw, so busy. Because of the people, it is more comfortable joining when to talk about the tourist wants, the tourist demands. And in this regard, dear friends, are talking about to understand the airline marketing. Yes, it is important. And therefore, it can be studied under certain important features of the airline marketing. And in this regard, dear friends, we're talking about the first feature is highly perishable product. The second one, need for fine market segmentations. The third one, we're talking about dynamic marketing system. And the fourth one we are talking about that is called the dependency. So now, dear friends, whenever we may talk about uh, for your information, the perishable product, highly perishable product, why? We see from the above discussions, airline product is generally the most or highly perishable and it can be stored for the future sales. It can be stored. If you may talk about products like the soap, day-to-day activities where the consumers, the customers, or particularly the human beings required, that we can store it for a long period of times. But when to talk about the airline products, it can't be stored for future sales. Once boarding is closed on a particular flight, all the unutilized seats on that flight go completely waste. It is the fact when to talk about the airlines market as remains, the first one is that we're talking about the seats. Once the boarding is made, once the boarding is closed or the boarding is made on a particular flight, that you must keep in mind, dear friends. All the utilized seats on that flight go completely waste if the seats are not filled up. So airlines profitably and success of marketing functions generally depends on a gauge on its ability to fill up the available capacity, but it is a factor difference. That is the responsibility of the airline marketing, how to sell the seats more and more. If yes, if it is possible, then we may talk about particularly now the marketing, airline marketing must be looked after by the airline managers. That it is based on the ability, the skill, how to fill up the available capacity with the revenue generating. And when to talk about the traffic, the airline marketing can be based on the tools. One is the traveling of the passengers. On the other hand, we might talk about the cargoes. So this is called the I told the highly perishable product. Once it boarding is closed, then it can't be saved for the future sales. It is instant assessments. Similarly, we are talking about the second one, need for the fine market segmentation. Yes, dear friends, it's true to the best of the knowledge. How to say? If we talk about the tourists, particularly the airline markets, it consists of the varieties of the market segmentations, and also we are getting a passenger, a tourist, or we talk about the consumer, gets the varieties of the service when he or she travels in the airlines. And also we may talk about there is the different prices also and different travel motivations too. For example, I'm giving an example. The friends, when we're talking about in the marketing segmentations, particularly, there are the post-class passengers We may talk about the executive class passengers. And when we talk about the first class passengers, it's different. Or the first class, the tourists. They do not bother about the price of an air ticket, but they expect only the best and the most luxurious service. It is the fact. Sometimes we have been noticed when to travel by the flight. We see that a group of people they are not bothered about the finance. Rather, they are bothered about how to get the services, the best services. We are talking about the service which is the best and the modest luxury, or we talk about the standard of the luxury, and it should be pampered by the airline staffs. But in some of the way, yes, they are expected because they are not bothered about the money. Money was not a constraint to them, and they are trying in each and every way. They are getting the comforts when they travel in the airlines, and most particularly, the staff members, starting from the pilot to the crew members, and everybody should extend the service. And in the meantime, if we are giving the another example for a better understanding difference, that is the business traveler who mostly or may talk about generally travels on an expense account and expects good schedules and connections, efficient ground service, and the comfortable on broad surface. So familiarly, the traffic is more connected with the discount in airfares. Yes, the family wants to a family wants to travel to a distant place or for travel to the tourist destinations. They always pay for the discounts particularly. And when the airlines are offering the different airlines, when we talk in case of India is concerned, that the domestic airlines like we're talking about Indigo or the Vistara, we may talk about the airlines, Asia, Go Air. So the varieties of the airlines are working in India. But when to talk about the difference, the family holiday traffic, they are more concentrated on the discounting areas. And according to it, they make their scheduled, and according to it also they need the service standard. And when to talk about it is all about the need for the market segmentations, because in the society when to talk about difference, there are the varieties of the people are working together, they are living their thoughts, their approach, and their mode of target of the destination is different. So according to it, the marketing system needs to be designed, because the marketing system cannot be imposed on the customers. It can be designed according to the need, according to the requirement, the demands of the tourists that we meet. And now we are going to discuss the another important the segments. We're going to talk about the airlines market is concerned, and that is difference. I'm talking about what? I'm talking about the dynamic market. So I'm talking about the dynamic marketing system, the dynamic market. How to, for your information, dear friends. Whenever we talk about the airline's product, service is the most important aspect. And every passenger, every tourist, a customer, a consumer who travels through the flights or through the airlines, he generally expected the service. How far the crew members, how far the staffs of the airlines supply the service to mitigate the demands of the tourists. So keeping a view of it, the satisfaction of the tourists, the marketing system needs to be modified, it needs to be dynamic. And in this regard, we're talking about it. There are the various degree of satisfactions or the dissatisfactions. It is only because of the experience. So to talk about the staff members, they are just newly joined in the work of the alliance. And the persons who are having the 10, 15, 20 years of experiences. At the meantime, there is the variation of the services extended by the airline stocks. And in this regard, dear friends, I'm talking to this is a tone affects the perception about the product. And in this regard, we are going to discuss the airline market is facing going to talk about challenges, kind of the challenges. So challenge is a common pathos when to talk about a marketing system is concerned. Challenge for an airline in marketing lies in the manipulating its marketing mix. That is the challenge now. Suppose when the airlines, the people or the travelers, they travel for their needs. They need water. They need the foods. They need coffee. They need the tea. They need the water bottles. But sometimes it is happened to friends in the marketing mix as far as marketing mix is concerned. There is the product, the price, the promotion, and the distributions. So in the price, sometimes there is the cheat. If I talk about the product, sometimes it is not well to do according to the demand of the tourists. And similarly different, the promotion is also lacking behind of it. And this is done to get a passenger in front of its checking counter ready, and that must keep in mind, dear friends, willing to fly that particular airlines after paying good money and then sending him or her away happily to the destination. It is a fact, dear friends. So sometimes it is happen. So the airline facing so many challenges, starting from the key members. If the key members they couldn't able to satisfy the demands of the people, then in the next time the tourists they may not travel in the particular flight because of the service is poor. So, and sometimes if the service is highly satisfactory to the customers or the travelers, there are the possibilities that is the high inflection of when we talk about the tourist travel. And here to talk about the airline marketing manager, so responsibility is to look after the persons are involved in the tourism marketing, particularly the airline marketing. And the the airline marketing, for your information, dear friends, always tries to give the optimum. Always try to give the optimum and make an airline's operation more profitable. That is the responsibility of the airline marketing managers. So if the airline doesn't give the more profit, then it is difficult to difference to the marketing managers that to sustain in the airline because there are the possibilities of the dismissal of his power and the positions. And whenever we talk about the last but not the least, dear friends, we're talking about the dependency. Yes, the airline's product is dependent on certain external factors that may talk about the facilities, rules, regulations, and we're talking about the securities. And that we may talk about also second and the SecOps at the airports, and that we may talk about it, dear friends. These are all about the airline marketing features. And now we are going to discuss the another aspects that is called the marketing planning, dear friends. We have already discussed in the previous classes. Planning is quite essential. 100% that must keep in mind, dear friends. Planning is quite essential. Or we may talk about planning is record only because it gives the success. It promotes the tourist product. Or I talk about the airline products too. If planning is poor, if planning is paralyzed, there is the possibilities of the paralyzation of the marketing system. And defense, when we talk the strategic planning in this context, we're talking about the strategic planning supplies uh, the knowledge, and it is one of the most important stage in the tourism marketing in general, in particular, and the marketing as a whole in general. Every marketing system, It may be the education, it may be the day-to-day products, utility of the day-to-day products by the customers. Or may talk about the tourism marketing, whatever may talk about. In right now, the whole world is running. For your information, dear friends, the whole world is running in accordance with the marketing systems, according to the demand of the market. The products are made by the producers, keeping in view of the human resources. And whenever we talk about the strategic planning also appeared in the airline marketing. What it covers? It covers for your information, dear friends. It covers generally that you may keep in mind the attractive areas. That is the most important one. Second one, we're talking about the new opportunities. And the third one, we're talking about the formulation of the programs. And the next one, dear friends, I'm talking about that is called the formulation of the programs for developing the areas as well as the opportunities. So question comes, dear friends, when we're talking about the sense of the strategic planning, a term, the terminology strategic planning, the planning needs thorough. That means keeping each and every segment of the marketing systems because the manager, the marketing manager, always in support of that, how to get the more profit to the company. To you may talk about it to the travel agencies, or may talk about the airlines, or may talk about the entrepreneurs or the producers. And now, the friends are going to discuss it needs a long run planning. The planning should not be short terms. Means what the planning today, it cannot be continued tomorrow. Because the planning needs to be changed according to the changing demand of the market. Okay, dear friends. So in this regard, I'm talking about the long run planning deals with the elements. What kind of the elements? Yes, I'm talking to dear friends. The long run planning deals with the elements which covers definition of goals and objectives. The goals and objectives needs to the goal that you must keep in mind, dear friends. The goals and I'm talking to the goals and the objectives needs the goals and objectives needs to be defined properly. If the goals are not settled, if the goals are not predestined, it's difficult to accelerate to facilitate the marketing systems. So that the goal is concerned, the destiny of the product is concerned, and it is the fact when to talk about the destiny of the product, it is the general, what I am talking about the product in general, and we may talk about the tourist product. So therefore, the long run planning deals with what? It deals with these are the three major parameters we are talking about. There are the six major parameters. The first one is definition, I told, of goals and objectives. The third one, I am talking to your friends, a determination of where the company stands. So that is important thing. The company needs to be determination of where the company stands, and also it needs the position of audit, which include the strength and the weakness, opportunities and the threats. Yes, we are talking about every marketing system has its own opportunities and also has its own threats, own challenges. And in this regard has its own strength. For your information, we're going to talk about the product like in all of I'm talking about in all of the world. That is the product, clothing product. I'm talking about the Louis Philippe. Louis Philippe is a brand of the clothes. It has the company has its own strength because the people have the demand. Tourists, the customers have the demand on the basis of its satisfactions, on the basis of its quality of the product. That was keep in mind, your friends. And similarly, I'm talking about an assessment of the resources available to put the strategic plan into action. Yes, that is the responsibility. keeping in view of the sources, that is the responsibility of the managers, how to utilize the sources for the cause of the people, cause of the consumers, the tourists. And we may talk about the another one, that is an assessment of the alternative courses of actions and the strategy option available. Then we're talking about the decisions regarding the venues. And it is the fact when to talk about the avenues is concerned, okay, every tourist destination, every product has its own avenues and own the benefits, own the advantages as well as the disadvantages. Similarly, I'm talking about a company defense, the preparation of the plans to be conducted. That is called the strategic plans. And now, dear friends, we are going to discuss that is the another aspects, how to make the marketing system more effective. And it is most important, dear friends. Unless and until to make your marketing system effective, it's difficult, for the sustainability of the product. And in this regard, dear friends, we are just talking about it. For any business, it may be the general business, or we may talk about the tourist business. Any business we are talking to, dear friends, what it requires for, if we may talk about it for the information, dear friends, that is for any business, there is there is the uh, part of the marketing managers that we're talking about to analyze or to make to thorough discuss on the marketing effectiveness. Why? If the marketing is not effective, then there is the lesser possibilities that we must keep in mind, dear friends. If the marketing system is not effective, and a question comes, you might even ask the questions, how the marketing system would be more effective. So, if you may talk about the effectiveness of a marketing system, for your information, dear friends, it starts from the human resource till the satisfactions of the customers. And it is the fact, whenever there is the more customers, there is the more satisfactions by the customers, there is, we may call it the effectiveness of the marketing system. And it is the fact, dear friends. Unless and until to make your marketing system more effective, it may be any sectors of the business, particularly. Whenever we are talking about the tourism sectors, particularly, the prime concern is for each and every marketing system. Like we may talk with the tour operators, we may talk about the tourist products, we may talk about the stakeholders. So, in each and every sector, that we must keep in mind, dear friends, in each and every sector of the tourism marketing system requires the effectiveness. And similarly, we may talk about it, dear friends. Here, the marketing manager is responsible. That is the prime task because the marketing manager is the sole authority to look after the marketing system. And it is the fact the effectiveness of the marketing is purely based on the dynamism of the marketing manager. And in day-to-day marketing activities, it may be the common products what the human being or the customer generally use in his day-to-day life. So that is the prime purview of the marketing managers is responsible for the day-to-day marketing activities. Besides, the marketing manager also responsible, dear friends, for planning and the control functions. Yes, what in the what exactly we may talk about, no? The airline marketings, we discussed the marketing planning, or we may talk about the long run market, or long run, what we may talk of the planning. It requires the concept of, dear friends. It requires the marketing manager's dynamism because how far, that you must keep in mind, how far the planning is keeping the majority or keeping the majority demands. This is one of the most important tasks when to talk about the responsibility of the marketing manager is concerned. And that is, he's just like the, say, what to say, the sit anchor. The marketing manager is just like the sit anchor to pull the marketing system. And his responsibility is to control the functions, starting from the production till the packaging till the pricing. And we may talk about the marketing of the product, or we may talk about the role of the marketing personnel. And also, it is the fact that is the responsibility of the marketing manager that keeping in view of the customers and the consumers' satisfaction. And friends, the marketing effectiveness is not only reveals the marketing performances that you must keep in mind, but also it also deals with keeping in view of the economic conditions. Yes, the marketing system cannot be successful without the dominance, without the interpol of the market, the financial conditions. Because the financial condition is one of the major as well as is one of the major as well as the important areas that we may talk of the important components of the marketing systems because economy has the power. It is not in India, but talk about in all over the world. Every marketing system is considered on the basis of the economic standard, the economic. May talk about the strength of the people, or may talk about the customers. So it determined the marketing system, the fate of the marketing system. It named the general marketing. For example, in the previous classes, I have given the example. Also, I would like to repeat it. When to talk about the brand clothes, the concept and name of the branding in the previous classes I have discussed regarding the branding and the packaging of the product. Every product needs a brand because the brand is a symbol to satisfy the people. Maybe when to talk about the utilities concerned, suppose a product cost, suppose a salt, I'm talking about a salt. Its cost is 100 rupees and it is the salt has no brand. What its utility to mitigate the same of the mankind? The clothes in the same time having the 10,000, 5,000, 4,000, and it is on the basis of the brand of the name of the clothes. But when to talk about the utilities is concerned, so in this regard, dear friends, we must say that or we must convince. What is that? That is for your information, dear friends. Economic condition is quite important. Now coming to the marketing effectiveness, having five meso characteristics. The five meso characteristics, that is customer's philosophy, that you must keep in mind, dear friends. Second one, the integrated and the effective organizations. The third one, dear friends, I'm talking about that is called the adequate information, the strategic orientations, and the patient operations. So now question comes, dear friends, these are the five basic characteristics, the components I want to talk about to make the product, to make the marketing system more effective. And now question comes, what is this customer's philosophy exactly we mean? So dear friends, the customer's philosophy is depends. I'm talking to. It refers to the ability of the staff and the management to recognize the primacy of the storing the marketplace. So then now coming to I am talking the customer's philosophy. The customer's philosophy is to get the product with the satisfactions, with the proper service and the management of the staffs and the staff's dynamism to talk about the communication. That is most important. A customer is satisfied with the product, not after the utility, just before the utility. It is the prime task of the marketing managers, or we may talk about the marketing sales, the marketing executives, how they could have been able to what to say difference I'm talking to sell the product, and what is his personalities. Personality is the combination of the communications, the gestures, postures, the dress code, and most important thing is here the knowledge to mobilize the customers. This is called the customer's philosophy. And I want to talk about the integrated and the effective organizations. Yes, it is quite important. If the organization, every company, every product has its own organization. And when you talk about the product, dear friends, you must keep in mind here all the staff, starting from the grassroots level to the marketing managers. Even if, dear friends, we may talk about the producers too. There must be the proper coordination. There must be the proper coordination. Therefore, we are using the term the integrated and effective organization. As we all know, every organization has its own framework. Every organization has its own cultures. Every organization has its own portfolio to talk about in the society and according to the demand of the people. And similarly, we may talk about the third point that is called defense for your information. We call it the adequate informations, yes. The marketing managers must assess whether they are relevant to the demand of the time, or the product is relevant to the customers according to his latest satisfactions. So marketing manager must assess whether they are relevant up to the date of information onto targeted markets, whether they're competed. Suppose the demand, the customer. Just I'm giving the example. What is my experiences? It would be quite helpful in context to understand the adequate information. Where particularly in Odisha of India, and particularly I'm living in the Bhubaneswar, just I'm sharing the experiences which is valuable regarding the satisfactions of the customers. And information is most important. Why I'm talking to. I always prefer a face grade, and that is just 100 meters away where I'm residing. And if people can't believe it, your friends, 3 to 4 times I just asked to that shopkeepers, the dear, whether my product, my demand is with you. And if people can believe, he just uh, gave me the inadequate information. Today you may give, tomorrow you may get, day after tomorrow you may get. So in this regard, it creates a sense of dissatisfaction as a customer, target customer, the target market like me. Similarly, that is the job of the marketing managers, that to collect the information up to date. What exactly the targeted markets, the market what it demands. And in this regard, dear friends, it must also be ensured that the information relating to the quality of customers' service is received. And in really, when you talk the marketing system, it is based on, dear friends, the reciprocations. So in the marketing system, what is the reciprocation? The customer provides, gives his or her satisfactions to whom? To the to the marketing silos and marketing executives. And that is the responsibility of the marketing executives that to send the message to the marketing managers. Yes, customer A is satisfied, and customer A also suggested to improve the product more. So, in this regard, dear friends, we may talk about the adequate information is necessary only because of when to talk about the marketing effectiveness is concerned. Then we're talking about a difference that is called the marketing orientation. If we're talking about the airline marketing system, particularly in the airline, must assess whether it was a well-defined core strategy towards its making. That must keep in mind, dear friends. And it must investigate whether there is a formal system of the annual or the long range planning together with contingency planning if necessary. I mean, we are talking about a difference. The strategic orientation the airline marketing system needs strategic orientation, strategic planning because planning only helps to mitigate the demands of the both when to talk about the customers in one hand and in the other hand that is called the marketing managers difference as well as the producers. And now coming to the efficient operation that is most important. Airline must ensure that the importance is given to its the marketing department. The airline operation, the airline marketing system is purely dependent on the marketing department. Because why we're talking about it, it is both the human resources and as well as the technical resources. And there should be clarity about the use of resources. As you know, in the airlines, there are many airline products, and all the products that they're behind clarity of thoughts regarding the usage. When to talk of the queue members, they can't fly the flight, as you know. They can't fly the flight because they're not the flight pilots. Similarly, when to talk about the pilots, they can't solve when to talk of the queue members like this. So the persons, the people, the marketing personnel, or may talk with the tours and travelers, the traveler senses, who we are relating to the airline marketing needs to work efficiently. If there is efficiency, then there is the possibilities of the success of the airline marketing. Now, dear friends, we are going to discuss another important aspect of the airline marketing that is called the pricing. So, dear friends, when to talk about pricing, it's yes, no doubt, it is the key features. Suppose I'm talking about if may say in Bhubaneswar of Odisha, right now in Bhubaneswar, Toshali is going in, and Toshali is the tourist product. It is the tourist product of national, international, regional, and the intra-regional. I'm talking of the price. How price play one of the cognizant role to determine the marketing system. I'm a particular the area marketing. How to say? I'm talking about when to talk about in Bhubaneswar, there is the Unit 1 market complex of Odisha. Difference, I'm giving the example. There, the what Tosali today, as you means, the products are available in the Unit 1 market building. But it is the fact, when to talk of the Tosali, it is more sophisticated. And whenever we talk about the market building, it is not more sophisticated. And therefore, the large number of the people they concentrated in the Unit 1 market complex in comparison to Toshali because in Toshali the products are most costly. If I may just giving the example, Just a few days back, I have gone through the electronics media for a better understanding friends I'm talking to. There is, if I talk with the government bodies as well as the government of India, including the world, in 2023, promoting, there was the November, I think that November 7, or like this. In November not 7, I'm talking to, that is the 24 year like this. I have not exactly recall. It was the year of the millet, International Year of the Millet. So I'm just talking about the how pricing determine the role of the pricing in the effective marketing system, or may talk the transport and the travel service marketing, and more particularly in the airlines. How about the pricing is playing a very pivotal role. So in this regard, I was giving the example. The product of the Tosli is high cost, high price, and it couldn't target the large market. It couldn't target the large market. That we must keep in mind, dear friends. And in this regard, I'm talking about pricing is one of the major determinant, dear friends, in the marketing, more particularly in the airline marketing. Why I'm talking to the airline marketing passengers are always in search of a new window. Here, window that doesn't mean here window means the new way, new hope, new gateways, and it is in form of the low fare keeping. I'm talking about a large number of the travelers, or may talk with the consumers, the tourists are in the world. They are generally concentrated the keeping in view of the low fares. And in this regard, we are talking about the low fares, dear friends, because when the price rate from that point of view, that category of the tourists, they are always in search of the price decline in the airlines, because the less price motivates to the more customers. And by that way, there is the more profitable to talk about the market or the business is concerned. And in the meantime, when to talk with the pricing, the tourists they are in search of the shortest route, how they can reach for your information, dear friends, how they can reach at their destination. And in the meantime, the first thing, the airline cost, I'm talking the pricing of the airlines is divided into three parts. It is divided into the three parts. The first part is direct. We are talking about the direct operating cost. Second one, indirect operating cost. The third one, I'm talking about the overhead. And dear friends, when to talk about the direct operating cost, it is otherwise known as the docks, and it deals with it can be operated by the aircraft related direct operating cost and the traffic related docks achievements. So when to talk about the difference, the airline related the operating cost, that we may talk the fuel and the oil used for the airlines. Similarly, we may talk about the maintenance. And when to talk the maintenance, it needs the mechanics, okay, engineers, the mechanical engineers. Or may talk about the laborers, may talk about the skilled as well as the semi-skilled people. Similarly, dear friends, I'm talking about the landing page. Whenever we may talk about in all over the world in the airlines, when they started to land in the airport, at the meantime, there is the landing page they are given to the airport authorities. And similarly, I'm talking about the navigation phase, the handling phase, and the care phase. It comes under the aircraft related, the direct operating costs. Similarly, the second one is the traffic related. When to talk of the traffic, dear friends, okay, it is happen through the airline marketing. We people have gone through it. That is the passengers and the cargo commissions. Then we talk about airport load fees. We talk about the in-flight caterings when a flight just starts to fly, and inside there is the catering system. It supplies the maggies. We talk with the coffees. We're talking about the teas or snacks, hot bottles, cakes like this. We're talking about even if the non-veg items also available. Then that is known as the in-flight caterings. And similar difference, I'm talking about the general passengers related cost also. And now we are going to discuss about the indirect operating costs for your information, dear friends. It deals with when to talk about the kind of the cost. It's fixed in its approach and the auctions. This is known as the aircraft standing charges, the flight crew page, then the cabin crew page. We may talk about the maintenance lever in hose levers, handling costs at the base stations. Whenever it is the fact a flight just landed, it has happened. That is the role of the base stations also function because of a group of the people are working in this context. And now, dear friends, want to talk about the overalls. So that we must keep in mind. The overalls usually, dear friends, it includes the sale costs, the administrations, the counts, the general managers, and we are talking about employment, personal department. So now a question comes, we want to talk about the second of the two major sections. Under the, I'm talking about the aircraft operating costs. We're talking about it, dear friends. The aircraft operating cost is the another one, which deals with the structural length, the utilization. We're talking about the fleet size, the size of the flight means, and the lever costs. So, dear friends, we are talking about for the effectiveness of the marketing. Yes, we must say that it is one of the important areas, particularly dear friends. And now we are going to discuss about the another aspects that we may call the friends. We are talking about the tourist transport marketing system. It is the another areas that is called the tourist marketing, particularly the transport marketing system. So it is in this context we also focus on the tourist transport marketing, and it is the fact difference. In this context, we may discuss what is the tourist market. You may talk about the what is the tourist transport market. Second, we may focus on the road and transport and keeping certain views, keeping certain objectives difference. What are the major objectives in context to the tourist transport marketing? The major objective is that we must say understand difference the characteristics of the tourist transport product. So it is the fact the tourist transport product is different. It is a means of the boss. It is a means of the talk about the two-wheelers, the three-wheelers that we may talk about. That is the tourist transport product. That we may understand how far it is essential and how far it promotes the marketing systems that we must keep in mind, dear friends. That is called understand the tourist transport product characteristics. The next one, segment the tourist transport market. Whenever we talk of the tourist transport market, okay, in all over the world, every tourism sector, there is the role of the accommodation, there is the role of the transport system. It is monitored by the tour and travel, as well as the tour and operators and the travel agencies. The third one, we are talking about the types of the tourist transport products. That also keeping in view of or taken care of. The next one, we talk about the issues relating to the product designs. Issues relating to the product designs. The next one, I'm talking about the difference. That is, appreciate the importance of the quality control. Yes, it is quite important. Quite important. And the next one, selling of the tourist transport services along with its tribes. And in this context of defense, if we talk about in all over the world, now the tourist transport marketing is one of the important system, and because there are the varieties of the transport involves the variety of the transport. The first one, when to talk of the transport, as we people, as we the customers, as we the travelers, defense, we must keep in mind the travel, particularly the tourist transport. It needs the transport needs a first, because if it's the long distance, we have already discussed in context of the travel management, because there is the travel insurances we have discussed in the previous chapters. And so always the transport needs to be fast. Second one, it should be comfortable. The journey should be comfortable. If a tourist or the customer once dissatisfied, it has the negative impact on the product. And also it helps to hamper, it affects to the marketing system, as well as the economic conditions, the economic standards. Want to talk about it, friends? The economic condition or the standards of the company, or we may talk with the producer is concerned. So therefore, the transport, tourist transport generally depends on first, journey needs to be fast, it is comfortable, secure, convenient. And in this chapter difference, we are also going to highlight the tourist transport market. And whenever we talk about the transport market, it is the target market and the product designs. So now going to discuss the difference. We are talking about the tourist transport markets. And yes, we must say that, dear friends, that is the modes of the tourist transport. As if you may ask to ourselves, or we are talking about the mode of the tourist transport. One is the airlines. Generally, a long distance tourist people to travel to the destination through the airlines. The second one, whenever we talk about in a state, we call it the we call it the national. Here, large number of tourists prefer railways. We're talking about the rail lines. And in this regard, we may talk about India in all over the world. India is the fastest growing country, where the highest number of the passengers, highest number of the tourists, they travel through the train. So train lines or the railways needs to be. The next one is the waters. Particularly after difference, I'm talking about after the inventions of the alliance or the facilitation of the alliance. The water transport, yeah, the water transport is made when to talk about the general goods concern. But whenever we may talk about the tourist product, like we may talk about the customers concern, there is the lesser. If we may talk about the Western countries, even if in India too, that the cruise. So cruise is one of the important uh, water ways, as you means. and where the tourists generally move and spend the night together. Now, dear friends, I'm talking about what? I'm talking about the road transport types. Regarding the tourist transport market, we're talking about the road transport types. Generally, it is consisting of, I told, the buses. Then we're talking about the air conditioned coaches. We want to talk about the train is concerned. And similarly, I'm talking about the deluxe courses. I want to talk about the deluxe course train as well as the buses concerned. And we're talking about the taxes of both the ACs and the non-ACs. And similarly, the car rental. And now, the friends, we can add the another concept that is called it is happening in the hot tourist destinations of India as a means difference. That is, suppose anyone, a tourist can reach at the Munali of Himachal Pradesh, that the facilities, the tourists also having the bikes at the tourist transport market, and sometimes there is the cars are also given on rent. So now, dear friends, keeping in view of this, I'm talking about, yeah, the customers categories is also the another aspects as you means. And just before going to talk about the customers category, it is another one. Customers of the tourist transport can be categorized. That you must keep in mind, dear friends. It is a variety, basically according to the tourism motivations and the segments. Generally, the tourists, known as the customers or the consumers, can be segmented in various ways. Yes, it is the fact if a tourist is just reaching to Konark, in the Konark, a tourist is getting the varieties, the vast marketing system in comparison to the Chaushoti Vagini when to talk about Bhubaneswar is concerned. So from that point of view, each and every tourist is getting, or the customer is getting the varieties of the motivations, segments. And now coming to the target markets is different. So to talk about the target market, it is another important part, particularly the tourist, exactly tourist transport marketing is concerned, dear friends. And in this regard, we're talking about the tourist transporters are working under the three important aspects. That is domestic, we're talking about the international, as well as, dear friends, the day visitors. And in this regard, we see each of this market, each and every market has its own course of actions. And like we talk about, every market needs the socio demographic profile, the socio-economic profile, travel motivations. If people see the persons are having the social positions, the persons are having the finance, and we're talking about the socio-economic conditions of the people in the society. If they are highly profitable, if they are highly sound by nature, then that can affect, that we must keep in mind, dear friends, that can affect to the marketing system, and therefore socio-economic profile is quite important because in the just a few times before we discussed the price. Every tourist wants to travel one destination to another destination. At least as much as possible, the price must be reduced. Therefore, it is happen. It is a common tendency. I do not. I'm not talking about the world. I'm talking about in a particular region. So the customers are, if they are not satisfied on the basis of the fare or the price, then they start to bargain it, even with the travel in the bus. Not it is possible. I want to talk about in the train because in the train it is fixed. There is no way. The people have no way that to. bargain it. And in this regard, we need, in context of the target markets, we need, dear friends, that is called the socioeconomic profile of the customers, as well as the socio-demographic profile. When to talk of the demographic profile, we must say every state has its own demography, every destination has its own demographic profile, and the one must keep in mind when to talk about the target market is concerned. Always the marketing managers they are keeping in view of that how to mitigate demands of the tourists or the demand of the customers. So therefore, in context to the target market, in context to the target market, we must say that in context to the target market, we must say that there is the prime task by the manager or we may talk about the marketing research that is to look after these three the travel motivations, socioeconomic profiles, as well as the socio demographic profiles. So now, dear friends, we are going to discuss in context to it, we are going to discuss about the product design and the development. So, dear friends, whenever we talk about the target markets, particularly the tourist transport marketing in this context, we must keep in mind one is the product design is required. And when to talk about the tourist transport operator, generally follows a tourist transport operator, like we may talk about the tour managers or the tour operators or the we may talk the transport operators. He believes certain principles, basic principles, to market the tourist product, that is providing the right product at the right place, in the right place at the right time. So that is the most important guidelines when to talk about a tour operator, transport operator, is just making that to provide the right product. So that is the responsibility of the tourist product to provide the right product. Right product as you mean, suppose we came to know it is for I'm just giving the example. Suppose a tourist from the Malta, a tourist from the Arabian nations destined to Odisha. Here the first task of the tour operator that to give the best product when to talk of the travel that is called the accommodate that is called the friends the vehicles we must keep in mind. This is called the vehicle. So that is the prime job of the tour transport tour operator that are keeping in view of the tourist demand, they must provide the luxury buses, the luxury transport system. Then at the right price. The price should not be the constraint. We always keep in mind, dear friends, the price should not be a constraint one. If the price, very simple to say, if the price is constrained, then there is the possibilities to hamper if the price is high. Dear friends, if the price is high, there is the possibilities to make the market effective one. So therefore, that is the job of the transport tour operator or the tourist transport operator that to provide the right product at the right price. So price should not be beyond the capacity of the tourists, beyond the capacity of the customers. If it is beyond capacity, then there is the possibilities of the hamper or the damage of the that you must keep in mind, dear friends, damage of the marketing system. So now we are going to discuss, dear friends, we came to know one is the right product at the right price and the right place at the right time. So these are the four important things when to talk about the product. The product design is made by the transport tourist transport of operator. Now we are going to discuss difference. We are going to discuss for your information, that is the analysis of the product market match continuing exercise, and it is the fact, dear friends. When we are talking about the product design and the development is considered according to TC Middleton. He has pointed out that there is the six factors leading listed by him. Why we are talking about? Because the tour operator is made from the point of view when we are talking about the marketing uh, segmentations, as you mentioned, dear friends. Regarding the product design and the development, T.C. Middleton has pointed out that what is there are the six factors that you must keep in mind, dear friends. The six factors: one is the vehicle technologies, the second one is the information technologies, the third one is the regulatory environment, price of a fuel, economic growth or decline. It is both the national and the international, and the exchange rate fluctuations. Now, question comes, dear friends. These are the certain the parameters. I'm talking about the factors. Sometimes influence to the tourist transport operators. So now, dear friends, okay, we are going to move, and particularly yes, just we may talk about the tourist transport business. No doubt, it is one of the independent activity. Anyone, anyone can run that kind of the business, that kind of the marketing system. Anyone can, and okay, that is called. I'm talking with the transport business. Generally, the people are calling it the transport business. And now going to discuss difference when we are talking about the tourism transport business. It's an I told it is an independent auctions. And most important thing is here, it is relating to the tourism product. And in this context, a tourist operator or a tourist transport operator needs a sound knowledge, the adequate knowledge, and the knowledge on the marketing systems. And we may talk of the in this context, the concepts and the practices is essential for successfully running the business. So when to talk about the business can be possible through the adequate knowledge on which business first of all to determine by the tourists, to determine by the tour operator. Not I'm talking about the tourist because the tourist getting the satisfactions. So now going to discuss the another aspects, dear friends, that is called the travel agency marketing. Yes, in all over the world, in all over India, in Odisha, starting from the regional level to the international level, there are the travel agencies marketing system. So now question comes difference when we are talking about the travel agencies. Everywhere the travel agencies, why their job is to provide the transport products like we talk about according to the requirement of the customers, or we are talking about the tourists. It may be the buses, it may be the cars, it may be the vans, it may be the caravans, it may be the trailers, or it is both the ACs and the non-ACs, it is both the luxurious or the modest one. So now coming to dear friends, know about the ways to design the travel agency product. So that is the responsibility when to because keeping in view of the tourists according to their comfortability, according to their luxury, the tourist product needs to be particularly the travel agency product needs to be designed. And also another objective, dear friends, that is called for your information, understand the product mix of the travel agencies. The next one we're talking about to know the markets of the travel agencies, their conditions, their futuristic approach, and to know the markets of a travel agency. How far the travel agency is required. Because when to talk about it, dear friends, in all over the world, there are the many more the the uh, tour operators, like you may talk about the travel agencies, are developed. It is in form of the where also to talk about in India, in abroad too, the where large. And now question comes, dear friends. These are the keeping in view of the objectives we see. The travel agency marketing is carried on. Now coming to dear friends, whenever we are talking about the insurance particularly, most of the management aspects, you may say that it may be the hotel management, it may be the house management, it may be the government management, it may be the tourism management. Any management aspects you may talk about in all over the world. There is a marketing system. How to say? If we may talk about, unless and until the product is well designed, there is lesser demand of the customers. So the producers always keeping in view of the customers' satisfaction is the key to the success of the marketing systems. So therefore, as you know, for your better understanding, dear friends, what is that? That is the management managerial approach in all over the world, generally governed by the marketing considerations, and that is relating to. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about the travel agency product. And just before going to talk about it, one thing we must keep in mind, that is the marketing management depends on the product design. Then we may talk about the product mix. We may talk about the target markets. Then we're talking about the linkage with the principal suppliers, the locations, sales, the promotions, commissions, and the discounts. So, dear friends, when to talk about the product design is important. Similarly, how to sell, whether you are selling the product nationally, internationally, regionally, or we may talk about the internationally. That must be keep in mind. And the another one is the locations, particularly the marketing segmentations management is extended to which target that we talk about the locations. And similarly, dear friends, we are talking about the discount systems also is there. Sometimes the travel agents marketing, they are giving the discounts, and it is happening in the electronics as well as in the printed media. And keeping in view of that, the discount is a sarcos of the human being. It is not in the travel agency marketing. It is also different in the general products. And so to talk about in all over the world, the big malls are there. Like me talk about in case of India for the better understanding. Just giving the example, there are the Vishals, the big bazaars, the pantaloons, and the varieties of the malls in all over the India, in all over the world are working. And it is the fact, dear friends, when to talk about the brand is concerned, and if people can believe, some companies are given the discounts buy one get one, buy one get two, buy two get three. So these are the strategy, or buy one with the 40% discount. So this is the concept difference that is dealing with the travel agency marketing. Now I'm going to discuss about the next one, dear friends. In this context, we are going to discuss about what is the travel agency product. So, dear friends, generally, if we may talk about, we are aware about the travel agencies everywhere, every destinations, every cities, even in the rural areas, all over the world, we see, dear friends, there is the travel agency is working. And for your information, there are certain intermediaries also uh, working together, and they are extending the service to the consumers in the tourism. And most important thing is here, dear friends, so when to talk about the travel agencies are generally working to go for their own market research. Every travel agency has their own travel research and to decide the target market. It is not borrowed from others. And similar, the designs is their own. Like you may talk about the office, starting from the office, or you may talk about the dress code of the tour operators, or particularly the travel agencies, the people who are working in the travel agencies. And similarly, the designs their own product, and they had their own type of services. And now, in this regard, dear friends, we are going to discuss the another aspect that we call decide on their product mix, determine the discounts as well as the service charges, have their own sales and the promotional strategies. So, dear friends, in all over the world, every travel agency has its own laws, own principles, own plannings, own strategy. And even if also each and every travel agency is differed one to another, want to talk about the application of their service, application of the pricing, like this. So, in this regard, we are going to discuss difference that is called the understanding the market. That is most important thing is here. Unless and until to understand the market, it may be the common market or it may be the market of the plutocrats or the market of the aristocrats or the market of the cosmopolitan or may talk the urban areas. That we must study. That is the job of the very simple to say the travel agents marketing. They study, they understand the markets. And one travel agent's business, suppose you have to decide which market segment to target, whether you want to target the youth age group of like this or the old age group of like this, or what kind of the market, whether the travel agents keeping view that to transport the tours or tourists from the railways or from the different destinations like my talk with the ports or my talk with the airports. And for this, one should divide the positive market into the identifiable groups. Very simple to talk. I am going to take the class of the Westerners, particularly the African students, as well as the South East Asian countries. And at the meantime, that is my motive, that is my the rule. What kind of the communication I could have been able to extend. So in this regard, dear friends, every travel agency has its own strategy or to decide the prospective market and the identifiable groups. And in this regard, dear friends, I'm talking to that is called those who travel by year or within the year travel, those who travel the executive or we may talk the club class, or the customers who require the AC coaches, customers who require the AC taxis, or the customers who do travel by the trains, by two-wheelers, by taxis, with the ACs and the non-ACs, the various things are taken into the account in context to the understanding the market. And also the product design also is required because it attracts to the tourists. And similarly, the product mix also the part of the we may talk about the transport agents marketing, travel agents marketing. And now, dear friends, there is also the role of the discounts because the discount is one of the important aspects of the travel agencies. They are trying their level best to reach or to give the more service to the customers. And if the price is constrained, then they couldn't reach the target customers. So, from that point of view, dear friends, the discount is also required. It is in the means of the alliance, or you may talk about the land routes. But sometimes when to talk about the railways, there is discounts usually happen. And now the promotional and the sales, it is another aspect, dear friends. The role of the technology also, because the marketing cannot be possible. It may be the travel marketing, or you may talk the tourism marketing, or you may talk about the marketing as a whole. So, dear friends, what we see, the role of the technology is also quite important. And from that point of view, we came to know that all the characteristics in this context are the part of the service of the marketing system. And each and every characteristics is responsible, dear friends, for making the marketing system more effective. And now, dear friends, last but not the least, we want to talk about the last one that is called the tour operators marketing. And it is the fact, dear friends, whenever we talk about the tour operators in all of the world, we notice that the tour operators are there and their responsibilities is the tour operators responsibilities I am talking about, dear friends. The responsibility is how to provide the better service to the customers and the tourists so that the large number of the tourist influx would have been more facilitated. And keeping in view, dear friends, we are going to discuss in the marketing system, the tour operators, they play a vital role and the role cannot be neglected. And in this chapter has been designed, dear friends, keeping in view of certain objectives. The first one is to know the nature, particularly the tour operation business. What is the nature? What is the characteristics of it? Then we're talking about to understand the process of designing tour packages. That you must keep in mind, dear friends. And the second, next one, appreciate the importance of the brochures in a tour operator's marketing and to know about the promotional and the sales method, what kind of the methods being adopted by the tour operators. And in this view, dear friends, just we are going to discuss about it. These are the four major parameters. As you know, dear friends, the tour operators, they are trying generally, they assemble the products. The tour operators generally assemble the products and the service together as the principal suppliers into the inclusive tour package. Suppose when to talk about the package is concerned, suppose from the mark from the Western countries, as I talk about in India, within India, there are in all over the world the different tour operators. Their job is, their target is, their job is to target the tourists. And throughout the year, they are taking the different tours to the different tourist destinations. And in this regard, we say that the tour operator assembles so the products as well as the services. So different kind of the services, starting from the traveling to we may talk about the spas, we may talking about the foods and the beverages, we may talk about all sorts of the services. And here another concept we may talk about the different the products what according to the demand of the tourists. The tour operators are trying their level best to organize or to arrange the different we're talking about the different the things. If we may talk about the intros, I already told. Now coming to dear friends, the constituents. And whenever we talk about the constituents, in the tour and of tour operators constituents particularly, they're keeping in view of the certain parameters, certain elements, like we talk of the destinations, the transport, accommodation, food and beverage, the entertainment, subs and the emporiums. So keeping in view of these six areas, the tour and tour operators, they are carrying their the travel, carrying the tourists, the customers to the destination by supplying the good transport, by supplying the good accommodation according to the demand of the tourists. It may be the luxury, it may be the semi-luxury, it may be the courses, or may talk about the caravans like the star hotels. We may talk about the ultimate accommodations. We may talk about the motels and the food and beverage according to the tourists, particularly the customers, the tour operators had tried the level best to provide the best foods according to their demands. And another one thing is for the relaxations, for we're talking about the reduction of the pain and the grips that we must keep in mind, dear friends. We are talking about what? The tour operators are keeping in view of that. Then we are talking about, dear friends, another important thing is here that is called the uh, tour operator a recap. And in this context, dear friends, there are the two types of the tour operators we notice in all over the world. One is the inbound, second one is the outbound. And in this context, also the market analysis is taken care of. It cannot be neglected. Because unless and until to analysis the market, the tour operators, they cannot operate the uh, tour. So tour operation requires in all over the world, there is the high degree of the competitions by supplying the best service, by supplying the good service to the customers. So from that when market analysis is required, and in this context also, there are certain issues relating the decision making, and it can be studied under the business environment, the forecasting and the seasonality, and the infrastructure too. And whenever we talk about the issues in the product design, and it is the fact because there is the requirement of the designing of the product according to the time, according to the place, and according to the customer's demand. So from that point of view, the two managers, they are keeping in view of that the design and marketing, design of the productions, and similarly the distribution, the promotions is quite essential. And in this regard, the role of the brochures also more pertinent in context too. It carries the information, dear friends, about the destination, and also it reflects the satisfactions, and therefore the brochures needs to a big one, big brochures, a small brochures, and the brochures are having the colors or with the photos. There is the full color processing. And in this regard, dear friends, we are talking about the concept of the printing also quite important. So whenever we may talk about difference, the tour operator is play a very vital role in context to marketing the tourist products in a large scale. And if it also depends on the dynamism of the tour operators, keeping in view of the adequate knowledge and their efficiencies, we want to talk about to make the market analysis properly. And according to the analysis, the tour operators from time to time are taking the steps and making the adequate plannings, and ultimately it would became one of the important marketing agencies, and it extends the service for the promotion of the tourism industry. It was, dear friends, all about the promote transport and the travel service marketing. And in this context, we highlighted on the airlines marketing, then the tourist transport marketing, travel agents marketing, and the operator marketings. With these, thank you for the patience hearing, and it was my pleasure to have the classes having the better experiences. Thank you.